would say that today and in the past few years, we have seen an improvement in gender inclusivity, certainly amongst associates and up-and-comers in the out-of-home space. There's a little work to do to see more inclusivity at the VP and C levels of various companies, but we're getting there. I don't think that it's isolated just to the out-of-home industry. It's the same challenges that we see in the rest of media, in the rest of, the workspace. And I kind of look at what can we do to, get around these barriers. And a lot of it has to do with giving everyone opportunities to succeed and to demonstrate their potential. I've been reading a lot about performance versus potential and how these are evaluated in terms of promotions. And typically, what we see, if we are to look at the genders, we will see that females tend to demonstrate performance through taking on tasks and getting them done well, getting them done on time. And men, they tend to demonstrate potential. Oh, he has the potential to close this deal or to do really well in this situation. And promotions, contrary to what we might think, are actually more often based on potential instead of performance. So that is something that we have to pay attention to when we are putting trainings together for our teams and when we are mentoring and when we are giving very clear feedback about what is expected in a role to get to that promotion. So we really want to level the playing field here by educating everybody on what they need to do to succeed. It is from the get-go in terms of drawing the right talent. It definitely is being very clear about what the opportunity is. And then also looking at not just somebody, when I hire for certain roles, I'm not going to base the decision solely on specific types of experience. If somebody comes from a different industry, but they can still do the task at hand, in my mind, I look at it more of like, I think it's important to have lots of different perspectives on a team and lots of different types of experiences, especially I'm a big advocate of if somebody has worked outside of the out-of-home industry, bring them in and give them a chance because there's an opportunity for us to learn a lot from how they see how things are going in the space and for us to make adjustments. Being based in Toronto at present, there are definitely a lot of entrepreneurs in the out-of-home space in Canada from a media owner perspective and also from technology perspective, agency-wise, just full of entrepreneurs. And I can think of one immediately who's a woman. And I definitely think that in this day and age, there are so many resources that are at hand to be an entrepreneur. Whoever wants to can do it. It definitely takes courage, but I think if anybody believes in themselves, they shouldn't hesitate to explore doing something of their own. I know that's easier said than done. You might have to work a job on the side as you make the economics work, but if you have a passion and you have a belief, whether it's using AI to get a business plan in place or tapping into local networks to find a mentor, it can be done. And so I really hope that today that isn't a deterrent. What I can tell you is I do notice from having been a manager myself and also just in general, salary is something that there does tend to be a little bit more of a confidence from men than women in bringing it up and discussing what they get paid. And so if we are talking about a pay gap, and I've seen it, I've seen and I've lived it too. If we are talking about a pay gap, again, that's an area where whether it's HR or just in general, the conversations and the training and the transparency about this is what a salary band looks like for this job. And this is how you talk about a promotion. And this is how you know how much you're worth and how much you're contributing. How do you quantify the work that you've done to not just to demonstrate performance, but also potential. So I keep on going back to the training because I think at every stage of, I guess, succession in a career path, and certainly across a workplace, the training is just essential to make sure that everybody is on the same page. In any story arc, there's always going to be a challenge for the main character to overcome. Usually there's a lot. And that's part of the story. That's how the main character learns about themselves and makes them stronger and all of this. So I would say, regardless of gender, in general, there are just going to be people in life who, for some reason, don't want us to succeed at what we're after. That's Everybody can relate to that. And in my own story, I can think of these people and I say to them, thank you for the growth and nice try. Call me an idealist, but I do think that a decade, 2 decades ago, there still probably was this notion of, an old boys club or whatever it was at the top, that regardless of your performance, you might not be able to penetrate if you weren't part of that group. I do think that to a certain extent, it's not as prevalent these days, and there are so many examples of female leaders, each embodying their own personality and approach. Totally. Yes. But again, every woman's strength is going to be different. So it might be stereotypically, oh, women are organized and they're punctual and, they're going to think this way. And that's all. That can be true, but there are many men who are also very organized and punctual. And I think the biggest thing that I would tell women who are graduating or entering the workforce or working their way up is what my parents have always told me, just be yourself. It's essential. The idea of being kind to each other is really important. I'm happy that it's starting to seep into the workplace. And, I have friends who, are both working and then also wives and mothers and sisters and daughters and all of these things, right? And there is a conversation about the mental load and how that's distributed. And I think it goes back to giving everybody the opportunity to really make sure that they are taking care of themselves. Trying something new, usually, is, I get a rush from embarking on something that might feel a little bit scary because I haven't done it before, and that is what I enjoy most. I would say raise your hand, and be open to opportunities that are out there. So it's twofold. One is participating, taking on, again, new experiences, opportunities to meet new people and learn new things. That's going to be very important in developing a career. And then on the flip side, it's keep an eye open and be curious about opportunities that you think should be developed and then suggest them.